Agent Itoro, let's begin with the body that you found in the lake.
Yes, it was a human body, unlike the dog ashes that were originally planted in place of Carmen Santos's body.
Yes, it was somebody's body, yes, but the problem is it wasn't Carmen's.
I had an anonymous tip to search the lake, and I did that. And I found a body, and on that body was a piece of jewelry with a Carmen nameplate. And I had dental records to match. What does that mean to you?
But you were prepared to pass that body off as Carmen Santos no matter what.
No, not no matter what. Everything that I just said. Plus the fact that your own client over there admits to having dumped the body right there after he shot her to death.
Objection.
Isn't that enough?
Your Honor, yes or no when appropriate? Sustained. Thank you.
I accepted the identification of the body as Carmen Santos, compliments of the Springfield Police Department's Crackerjack Forensics team. That was my mistake.
I know the FBI is having a bad year, but it is monumentally incompetent to end up with the wrong body. So let's move on to the bullet that was found during the autopsy in this Jane Doe. Do you know where it came from?
Sure. It came from the gun of your client.
Now, how could that possibly be if the body you have is not Carmen? How could a bullet from Danny's other gun, the gun that wasn't even at the scene, how could that bullet end up in a Jane Doe?
I don't know. Ask your client.
You should pay attention. We did, in testimony. It's still a mystery. Now then, Agent Peterson, he testified that on June 5th, he was conducting surveillance in a van in front of the Bauer house, on your orders?
Correct.
And Detective Cooper testified that on June 5th, the entire Bauer household, including Danny Santos, was detained at the police station, also on your orders?
Well, if she said that, then it must be true.
Your Honor, please.
Yes or no, Agent?
Yes.
Yes. So then the house was empty?
That seems to be the case.
Where were you?
I beg your pardon?
Everyone else is accounted for. Where were you?
I don't recall. That was our busy season.
Head of the investigation, and you don't know where you were. Did you order Agent Peterson to alter the tape and cut out the sound of the gunshot?
Don't be shy, Slimeball. Admit it. You're as crooked as a dog's hind leg, Megalito.
Did you order Agent Peterson to erase the sound of the gunshot?
Agent Peterson is a green, new field agent. He is inexperienced. I've seen it happen 1,000 times. New agents are really eager to get an arrest, to get a conviction, and sometimes they will go a little too far, even if it's for the best of reasons. Now, to reiterate some of Agent Peterson's own words right up here on this stand, we set up plants in the Bauer house to capture ambient noises and sounds and things that would help us in our case. What Agent Peterson so desperately wanted to be a gunshot was nothing more than a car or a truck backfiring.
How do you know that?
Experience, counselor.
Well, wouldn't experience also tell you the difference between an internal sound and an external sound? Or are you testifying that a backfiring truck was in the living room of the Bauer house? Or are you saying, did Agent Peterson lie under oath?
No, I am not saying that. Agent Peterson thought it was a gunshot. Agent Peterson was wrong. And as his supervisor, I instructed him to edit that tape, edit the sound out, so that there would be no misconception.
Well, if it was an innocuous sound, why bother? Why erase it?
He was talking about going to Washington, and frankly, I was concerned for a new agent, that they would be reprimanded, perhaps he might even be fired for an overzealous, albeit understandable pursuit of justice.
Oh, so you're saying that nobody at the FBI, even your superior, knows the difference between a truck and a gun?
Counselor, I'm with the FBI, and I know the difference.
Okay. So then you were protecting Agent Peterson, is that right?
If my judgment was wrong, if I bent the rules a little bit to protect an agent, a new agent who was unknown to them about to put their whole career and dream at risk, I will gladly take that responsibility.
Now, on June 5th, you were alone in the Bauer house, weren't you?
I've already answered that question,
And
Counselor.
you found Danny's gun.
I don't recall.
And you fired the weapon, and you retrieved the spent bullet.
Your
and then
Honor.
you planted that bullet in the body that you found in the leg, the body that you passed off as Carmen Santos.
Your Honor.
Now, Agent Itoro, you have lied about your whereabouts. You've lied about evidence. You've lied about
Enough,
being in charge
Mr.
of the
Marler.
investigation. Have you told the truth about anything, Agent Itoro?
Enough.
Yes, Your Honor. You have heard enough, I've heard enough, and they have heard enough, and you were not protecting Agent Peterson. You were protecting yourself because you were so determined to put Danny in jail that you not only bent the law, you broke it.
Your Honor, counsel is now testifying.
Find a question or sit down.
Yes, Your Honor, I have found a question. The question is why? What is driving you to put Danny Santos in jail no matter the cost? What is worth that much to you?
You know, you're so melodramatic, Counselor. There's no big mission going on here. It's just a matter of bringing a murder to justice, and that is it.
No, in the timeline of things, you did not know that. Until Danny Santos testified, all you had was a body that turned out not to be Carmen Santos and a bullet that you were going to plant in that body. You had nothing to justify pursuing this case.
Is there a question anywhere in sight?
Yes, I have a question. Can you explain your motives?
I am a special agent for the Federal Bureau of Investigation. I put killers in jail. Beyond that, my mood, my feelings, my motives are irrelevant.
Irrelevant? I disagree.
Well, then, Counselor, we agree to disagree, then. How's that?
No, we can't allow you to do that. Because who you are is the core of this case. Who are you, sir? And I ask that question because, in fact, there is no such person as Gus Itoro. Is there?
Now Itoro is stalling. Do you have any idea where Ross is heading with this line of questioning?
He's trying to get Ituro to spill his real identity.
His what?
I figured out that why he has such a thing for Danny. Because Ituro is Danny's half-brother. Selena's son, Miguel Santos Jr.
Oh, good Lord, I hope not. The last thing this town needs is another Santos.
Thanks.
The sit-up's late. What did I miss?
Well, Ross has something in that file, and I think he's gonna nail Gus with it.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. Have you composed yourself?
I wasn't trying to compose myself, Counselor. I was just thirsty.
I will repeat the question. There is no such person as Gus Itoro, is there?
Your Honor, I'm lost. I don't...
That makes two of us.
Your Honor, the credibility of this witness is crucial to the prosecution's case. I established that earlier. I'm simply pursuing the line of questioning.
You could have fooled me.
I'll give you a little leeway, Counselor, but don't abuse it. Answer the question, Agent.
Well, what was the question?
Who are you?
You know who I am.
I know who you say you are. Now, please tell this court who you really are.
Fine. My name is Gus Itoro. I am a licensed driver in the state of Illinois. I am a graduate of Georgetown Law.
And before Georgetown Law, did you have another name?
Yeah, my buddies used to call me Kojak.
Did you ever have another legal name? And perhaps this will jog your memory. the court's edification, the witness is looking at a photograph taken some 20 years ago of a boy and a man attending a Cubs game at Wrigley Field in Chicago, Illinois. Who is that boy in the photograph? That's you, isn't it?
Yes.
And who is the man in the photograph?
Your Honor, this has no bearing on this case.
Your Honor, I'm about to show that it does.
Answer the question, Agent.
Who is the man in that photograph?
His name is Joe.
Joe what?
Agostino.
Joseph Augustino, also known as Joe August, wasn't he, to his friends and colleagues?
If you say so.
Joe August was a cop, a highly decorated detective in Chicago. And for years and years, he worked in the OCD, the Organized Crime Division. In fact, he was responsible for putting a number of mobsters behind bars, wasn't he?
I guess so, if you say that.
That's a fact. And how did you know Joe August?
A lot of people knew Joe.
But you knew him particularly well. Look at the photograph. You're at a baseball game. Relaxed, smiling, friendly, waving. Obviously a connection between the two of you.
Objection, Your Honor, speculation.
Your Honor, if you would be so kind to look at this photograph, which I will submit into evidence. Obviously, they know each other. I'm simply asking how. Please tell this court, how did you know Joe August? Please tell the court the nature of your relationship to Joseph Augustino, the man in this photograph.
I am a special agent for the Federal Bureau of Investigation. I am here to testify to the evidence, and that is it.
You've testified falsely. Stop doing that.
Your Honor.
What does a picture of me as a child, a 10-year-old child, have to do with anything? I'm not on trial here, Counselor. Your client is on trial.
I'm starting to wonder the same thing. Mr. Marler, please get to your point.
Yes, sir. Your Honor, this is a certified copy of Gus Itoro's birth certificate, and if you will read this document, you will see that the man was born only 7 years ago. May I? You recognize this document?
Answer the question, Agent.
Yeah, I do.
Tell the court what it is. That document, filed 7 years ago in Cook County, Illinois, is a legal notice of name change. This document legally changed your name to Gus Itoro. From what? What was your former name?
Nick.
Nick what?
August.
Nick August, also known as Nicholas Augustino? And the man in this photograph, was he your father? Was Joseph Augustino your father?
Yes.
Thank you. Why did you change your name?
People do it all the time.
That's true, and one reason they do is that they need another identity in order to conduct illegal activities. Was that your reason?
No.
Then why did you change your name? Were you ashamed of being his son?
No.
Were you ashamed of him?
No.
Your father had a marvelous reputation for being a great cop, but maybe it wasn't deserved.
It was well deserved.
Maybe he was on the take, or he was abusing someone at home, or he's drinking a little too much, or cheating on
You
your
know, this
mother.
is all garbage. He was a good man. He was one of the best cops that ever lived.
Well, now you sound proud of him.
I am proud of him. I was proud of him. I'll always be proud of him.
Well, if you're proud of him, why did you reject his name?
I had my reasons.
Which were?
Personal.
All right, then, I submit that your main reason was that you wanted to conceal your identity. Is that true?
No.
To trick people. Because you're a liar, Nicholas.
Your Honor,
A
please.
liar who abuses the law, and now you don't have the guts enough to come clean about your own father. Why should this jury believe anything you say?
Because I know the truth about your client, Counselor. I know the truth. I know who Danny Santos is.
And how do you know that?
Look, if you want to attack me personally, go ahead. I really don't give a damn. Because it's not going to change the fact. And the fact of the matter is, Danny Santos is a murderer.
You feel very strongly about my client, don't you? You believe that he's guilty and you want him to pay.
Yes, I do.
Pay for what?
Murder. The murder of his mother, Carmen Santos.
And you are so determined to see him pay that over the years you've done what?
I've done my job. What I was sworn and trained to do. Nothing more, nothing less. Just my job.
So for 4 long years, you've simply been doing your job?
You know, we at the FBI have a file this thick, 5 inches thick on this guy. You don't get that for being a good Samaritan.
4 years is a long time
Well,
to be
that's
on any
my
one
job.
case.
Yeah, that's my job. You stick with the case until you have enough evidence.
And if you don't, you fabricate it.
Objection.
I apologize. I withdraw the statement. And so, is it your testimony, then, that your pursuit of Danny Santos was professional in nature and not a personal vendetta?
Well, anything else would be ludicrous.
And that you have never lied or falsified evidence in this case? Is that your testimony? Are you sure that's your testimony? Because from the moment I started this line of questioning, you knew this is where we'd end up. Didn't you, Nicholas?
Your Honor, Mr. Marlar is waving papers around this courtroom like they're confetti. If he has something to put on the record as an exhibit, he should do it correctly, and I want to see them.
Approach the bench, Miss Wolf.
Object. Will you
Mr.
just
Marlar,
object?
let me see what you have here.
It's irrelevant, Judge.
Be quiet, sir. Miss Wolf?
Your Honor, I believe it's highly relevant.
Proceed.
What is this document? You say it, or I will.
It's a photocopy of a police report.
A Chicago police report, dated September 12th, 1980.
Yeah.
Please read the first 3 sentences. Aloud.
Case number 1452-7, homicide. The victim's name.
The victim's name was what?
Joseph Agostino.
Quiet! Quiet!
The victim was your father, Joseph Augustino. Would you please turn to page 3? Read the section that's highlighted. Again, please read it aloud.
Interviews with informants corroborate that the killing was a mob hit. That the killing was a mob hit personally authorized by Miguel Santos.
That's it. And that is the reason that you hate my client. And that's the reason you will break any law to see Danny Santos behind bars. Because it doesn't get any more personal than this. His father killed your father.
Quiet!
The answer to your question is no. I am not here for revenge.
Was Miguel Santos ever convicted for your father's murder?
No.
Prosecuted for it?
No.
Charged?
No.
Was anyone ever convicted, prosecuted, or charged? The answer is no. For 20 long years, your father's murder went unpunished. And that makes you angry, doesn't it?
Yeah, it makes me mad as hell.
Yes, and I don't blame you. I'd want revenge. I'm sure that anyone would want revenge.
Now, so don't put words in my mouth, please.
You know, Nicholas, I can imagine you as a little boy, standing at your father's graveside, just watching as they eased him into the ground. In one hand, you're holding his citation for bravery, in the other hand, a folded flag that had been draped over his coffin. Your You're fighting back tears, determined to be brave, yet all the time vowing that one day they would pay for killing your daddy. And when you grew up, you started to make good on that promise. You graduated near the top of your class, you joined the FBI, you rose through the ranks, and then one day you got yourself appointed to the Santos case. And that's when you decided to change your name. In hopes that no one would ever face you, as I'm doing now, and question your motives. Because ultimately, the truth doesn't mean one bit. The only thing that matters to you is getting even.
You want to know what the truth is? I'll tell you what the truth is. They shot him down in cold blood. He's one of the best men that ever lived. Do I want them to pay? Yeah, you're damn straight I want them to pay. I want him to pay. I want every single one of them to rot in hell for the rest of their pathetic life. How's that for the truth? Let's talk about justice, shall we? The pursuit of justice. This makes me sick. When a piece of trash can take a good father, a decent man, an excellent cop, and put him in his grave, hunt him down and shoot him like an animal, and nobody does anything about it. Is that justice?
It is tragic what happened to your father. But sending an innocent man to prison is not going to right that wrong. It will only compound it. And that is not what your dad would want. Your Honor, if it pleases the court, in light of this new evidence, the defense requests that you consider a mistrial.
I'll hear arguments in my chambers now.
Thank you.
This court is adjourned.